Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there, and so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Thanks for coming on and chatting to us, Adam,
Yeah, no problem.
about this new album of yours that's coming out very soon.
Yes, yes. Very
30th of
exciting thing
May.
to talk about.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Seriously. Is this your first self-titled album, which is
Correct. Yeah.
interesting. Was it why did you decide to do it this time round?
Well, there's been, well, I mean, we did our first four records were all this like big overarching concept, and each one was like its own season. And I felt like really the story being told there was the story of a young band growing up through the seasons of life, because when you sign on for four records, that's basically 10 years gone, and so kind of knew that going in, and then the plan was to take whatever we came up with as a band through that time, and and look back at it at the end and see what we learned and what we could distill into what is Rivers of Nile, basically. And so that was the I'm sorry about that.
That's right.
That was the that was the basic idea, and then to self-title it felt pretty natural, and then it also came along with the timing of there being some big lineup switches and everything, and it felt like the right time to reassert and prove that this is that band, this is Rivers of Nile.
Because I mean, it definitely that's amazing because it definitely does sound like a different direction that you're going in on this album sonically, but still has the DNA of your f first few albums. I was listening to it
Yeah.
and thought, wow, this is a real different direction for the band.
hmm Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's derived of what we've done before, but with a more like concise uh concise ideas in mind, and like and the ability to like distill it into something a little more bite-sized. um and then yeah, so it's what we do, but I feel like it's us turning it to like like really like getting to the point. And then also, there's the addition, the changes in the lineup, which
Mm,
automatically changes the sound, or it should change the sound of a band if you're
mm,
utilizing the people that are there, which is very important to me, at least.
mm.
And so, like having Andy on board, as the new guitarist, and he's got an incredible voice that we had to utilize, and just I it immediately was just wanted to be like, let's get some big ass choruses going on this thing. That's fun. I like that. So,
Yeah,
and it felt like a good writing challenge.
and I was gonna. That's one of my notes. I think the vocals on this album are very special.
Oh,
They're
thank you.
really fantastically mixed with the sound. Uh,
Sweet.
and it is like you said, he's got a great voice. Like
hmm
he has. Like, where's that come from? That's pretty amazing, really. Like,
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where it comes from myself, and I know the guy. Know the guy a
yeah.
long time.
But what I like about your music is that you mix, because of your technical progressive band, there's no boundaries to what you do,
Yeah.
which is something that's really refreshing to us listeners. We, particularly listeners of your music, we like the no boundaries. What's going to happen next? What's coming soon? Like I was absolutely almost brought to tears, and it sounds really silly, but to the saxophone, the alto sax parts in Logical End,
Oh yeah, that's a good
it's really beautiful. Like
one.
genuinely, like you go with all this brutality and technical wonderness, and then you get this sort of soft moment.
Yeah.
It takes you back. It just takes you back to the 80s. What it does me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a new sax player as well on this album than we usually have in the past. Patrick Corona, who's been playing with us live, and I just his tone and what he came up with for the record is so awesome. It just has this warmth and yeah, very nostalgic kind of sense to it, and which
Yeah.
is I think I mean, our utilization of the instrument has been, a big talking point for a long time now. But I think it's it's just a cool layer to have, and a cool, it makes things feel timeless. I don't know. I guess I remember as a kid having saxophone moments and all kinds of songs, listening back, and you know, I was like, well, you know, why let that go of music that I make,
Yeah, I mean,
if it's
exactly.
something I enjoy.
Yeah, look, you're right, mate. Sorry, I took over you, but you're very right,
Yeah,
mate. Like it doesn't matter what the bloody instrument is, as long as it can be played in an appropriate, non-congruous manner. And I think that's what you get with this. And you got cellos as well.
yeah,
You've got all sorts of interesting instruments that bands wouldn't usually bring into this a more heavier aspect of music, which I think is a
yeah. And
sad.
it's
I think it's
I was
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was like, wow. I'm always thinking, why not? What rules were put in place that say that metal has to just be distorted electric guitars and blast beady drums and heavy chugs all the time. Like it can have other, their music is made on lots of different things.
Yeah, yeah, and the nuances on this album show that up. I mean, tracks like "Criminals," "Dustman," things like that. There's lots of nuances within those tracks that
Yeah.
bring you back, and you keep listening to it again and again, and you come back and say, "What? I missed that bit. I've got to hear that bit again." And you find little bits and pieces, which I did anyway, like at least Easter
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah.
And
We always are just like, we always do stuff towards the end of a session where we're just like, how about this little detail? And I'm just like, there's things like, there's a track of like dogs barking and criminals that I feel like almost it's almost imperceptible. But we're just like obsessing over like the pitch and range of the dogs barking, and I'm like this, we have to let this go now. Like we've done so much.
yeah, the madness of the fine detail, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You sit there and going like, sure, I can finish this. I just put this bit in here, and then we're going, could you?
yeah, yeah.
No one's going to hear
Yeah,
it.
it's like how does the dog barking, match with the lead guitar part that's also happening there, and the like the 10, 20 other instruments. It's just like,
Uh,
guys, we gotta cool it.
but that again is what makes your band and music like your band so special. That you do that. It's not just a. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all love. I'm sure you're the
It's
same.
fun.
Yeah, we all love a bit of 3 minute hard thrashy music. We all love all that. That's nothing. That's part and parcel of our DNA. But there's something special about hearing little bits here and there and feeling things and emotions that you don't
Yeah,
get. Which is something that we're all a bit embarrassed to talk about. But I think it's very important. Emotions in music, and
yeah,
you get that with your music.
yeah. I think a lot of I mean, this band in a lot of ways has been a reaction to I because I love death metal. Like a
Mm,
lot, like just grow up big, huge death metal guy, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse, like are just majorly important bands to me.
mm.
And so, going in, we're we're like, this is a death metal band, but I'm like, well, what are the what are, like ever since the beginning, I'm like, well, what are the problems that I have with death metal? And it's like, okay, some of track to track, the songs can kind of like, even though they're badass, so on a lot of death metal albums, the track to track, the songs don't change that much.
Y-
Like it's they all feel the same. Whereas like you listen to like a Michael Jackson record or something like that, and every song has its own little flavor, and it's just like this guy representing like and it representing his talents in different ways. Which I don't think death metal doesn't have to be like that, but it could be.
Mm.
Why not? I mean, somebody could try and steer it in that direction. And it's the same thing with like the emotional spectrum. Like death metal doesn't display a whole lot of range of emotion, and I think that's for specific reasons. You have a lot of really closed off young men, just kind of not they're not there to really talk about their feelings, even though
Mm.
you can pick it up if you're listening.
Yeah, yes, you
And, like
can.
yeah, but so I mean, like, it was a lot of this band's been a lot of like, looking that whole thing dead in the eye and seeing over the course of years how I can kind of bend it around and change things.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it wonderful, as I said before. Like it's not straightforward, 8 tracks of the same thing, get to the end and go, oh, well, okay, why not listen to that again?
Yeah,
You
that
know,
was a sick 45 minutes of riffs. So, like, yeah,
yeah,
sweet.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool. That's cool, but not everybody has to do that.
No, exactly, exactly right. I mean, has it gone down well with the hardcore fans or people that have heard it so far?
I mean, you mean this record
Yeah.
specifically, or I
Yeah,
mean,
this one, yeah.
I mean, other than our label and the team and the guys in the band, the people we work with, uh, other than that, like people really close to us, like I haven't really like we haven't really sent this to friends and family, like
Mm,
we've been like which we had in the past, and just
mm,
like try and like garner feedback. So like this is honestly the first real like doing this press for this record and
mm,
talking to people who have listened to it is
mm,
like some of the first real feedback I've gotten. And I don't know, it's for and but feedback for the singles so far has been really great. Like the House of Light reaction
mm,
was, I was like, I didn't know what to expect. I thought people were, I didn't know what to think. I mean, I know it's a sweet song,
mm.
but it wasn't my first choice for a single. But I obviously would have been wrong, like
Yeah.
because it's a perfect first single, and it hit like a ton of bricks, and people seem to love it, and I couldn't be happier about that.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Because I mean, there's a lot of tracks on this album that could be singles. You're very right there.
yeah,
There's a lot on
I
there.
felt that way. I felt like that, That was a big, it was a big conversation. Like we took a long time to decide, what was going to be chosen to represent the record. And yeah, I mean, I think it gets to a point where it's like, I believe in all these songs enough that it doesn't even matter. Like let's just we'll put these things out, and then we'll rip it. Because I mean, I think this record is awesome.
It is. It's a tonal change, an emotional change. I feel listening to it in the direction you're going. I think it's going to be great live. I mean, taking this album live is gonna go off. I
Yeah,
reckon.
definitely. Yeah, we definitely wrote with that in mind, big time. Like we, you I love the work, our last record. Like I love it. I'll defend it to,
Of course.
to the
Yeah.
most dire haters of it,
Yeah.
which but whatever. I love that album. But as a live piece, I think I love it because it's the kind of record that I like to listen to as a record. Like it reminds me a lot of like a deep cut King Crimson album, or like a later years kind of Yes record that like
Oh,
that your
yeah.
dad got out of the attic, and like he wipes the dust off. And he's like, check this out,
Well,
and then
I
like
love
that's
Yes, but yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too, dude. But yeah, that's what that record feels like. But then playing that live is its own specific experience.
Mm.
It's some of it is like a little long-winded, and like I love, which is stuff that I like. Like people go like, "There's too much filler on this thing." I'm like, "Have you listened to the Wall?"
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
Wall,
What are you talking about? What are you talking?
I love stuff that takes its time.
Yep.
But anyway, but live, is that the best move for our like beating like metal hearts at this time? No, like we were just like, we want to play songs as this band that it just like to just rip, and like we want people to circle pit and
Yep.
bang their heads and
Yep.
jump all over each other. Like that's the experience from our youths that we would like to bring back to the forefront with this one.
And I think you will. I mean, a mixture of your
Yeah.
older stuff and this stuff. This particular album, as I said, it felt more dynamic. It's a lot more energy, even though your music is full of energy. But this is really energetic.
Yeah, yeah.
This album, because like you said, it's not as much build up in all the tracks. They're still build, but they're not as you don't got to spend all day with them. Like you can come and
Hmm.
go with each of the track and it will fill your time, but it won't take up too much of your time, which is
Yeah, it's the kind of
yeah.
we wrote them with like the the kind of songs that like if it, like if it came on the radio like not the death like stuff with this much blast beats or growling comes on the radio, but that kind of vibe like where if it came on you'd be like hell yeah, and then you'd sing the chorus a couple times and then like you'd be on to the next thing, but like in a good way, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I like that you've got American Death on there because I read that you had that on your t-shirts for a long
Yeah, wait,
time.
a long time. Like I think we started printing shirts with that saying on it in 2012. Yeah,
Gosh, a different world.
yeah, for sure. And it's just I think that song sweet, and I think that I'm interested that like there's been some like argument about us becoming too concerned with political things or something like that, and it's just like it's sort of like that. I feel like that song is sort of a callback to like a 2005 era kind of, like when you had bands out there playing Ozfest in like fuck George W. Bush shirts and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
like I like it just felt like that. Like it's like kind of, I know like it's kind of a hacky political statement, but like that's what the song feels like to me. It's fun. I find that fun. I
yeah,
mean, but the song, of course, touches on real things, and it's simple. It's like obviously like a divisive politics are playing everybody against each other for the sake of these grand masters who don't give a shit about you and
no,
will send you to die somewhere at the drop of a hat if it helps their buddy's bottom line. Like everybody knows this,
yeah,
and it's just it's almost like I almost wanted to put like a little trademark symbol at the end of the track because it's
yeah,
like it's a brand, America's main export
yeah.
at this point
Well,
in
yeah.
one way or another.
I mean, you're living through tumultuous times,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we
the
always
world,
are, but
yeah, the world in generally, but and so
yeah.
it's, when I listened to that track, yeah, I did think of things like, I don't know what I was thinking. I had this in my mind. I know it's not the same sound, but I was thinking, like, I was really thinking, things like extreme noise terror
Mm.
and things like that. They were in my brain. I was going through these sort of like Black Flag, things like this
Oh,
were
okay.
going through my head.
I was going way lower brow than that. I'm
Which
I don't
one?
want to call anybody out, but like if you watch videos of bands playing in like the heat of the Iraq war at Ozfest, like that's the vibe I wanted to
Get
get.
you. Now I'll
Yeah.
re-listen to it
Yeah.
and I'll think that this time round when
Yeah,
I
yeah,
listen to
yeah.
it. But yeah, like again, I thought that was one of the best tracks on the album.
Yeah, it's a fun one. Again,
Yeah.
it's the focus is on having a good time.
Yeah.
Maybe learning something along the way, but
Yeah, look,
my
and wasn't that what good music was about though? Didn't you? I learned a lot of my things through music.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I really did. I really did. Like, through a lot of the progressive stuff when I was a teenager, like Yes and Genesis and things like that. I learned a lot of stuff through
yeah.
them. Um,
Sure. Yeah, man. It's a lot of you have these people who live these kind of crazy lives and they're like writing about things of the world around them the way they see it, and and there's a lot of wisdom in musicians, whether you like it or not.
oh
People
yes.
tell people I think are like often to like, oh, these people aren't experts in anything. It's like you're literally talking about people who travel the world and for the most part and are trying to claw tooth and nail through this whole thing. And
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not everybody who's the touring musician is like some kind of world expert genius or anything like that, but these people have things to say,
Yeah, you're
and
opening
I,
yeah, you're opening the window. Sorry, you're opening the window to the world, aren't you?
yeah,
You as a
try.
musician are looking out like a painter, like a writer. You're looking out and you're reflecting your world to the other people.
Yeah,
So when
right.
people say you've got nothing to say, they can shut up, really, like, and go and sit in go and sit in their own little dark rooms. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just, yeah, they, I think people who say that just are commenting on hearing things that they don't want to hear,
yeah. Well, that's
obviously.
another thing. Negativity. If they don't like it, they'll shout at you.
Yeah, right.
You know that. And but if they like it, they won't say a bloody thing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
crazy,
right.
isn't it? It's crazy
Hmm.
emotion. But look, the album itself is going to go amazing. I'm looking forward to seeing
I
how it
hope
goes
so.
for you,
Yeah, yeah.
and the direction you're going in, and hopefully you'll get to Australia and tour
Yeah,
one day.
yeah. I mean, we're always got our eye on the down under. We've been a couple times and we've loved it, and as
Yeah, I've seen you here. It's amazing.
yeah, man, and yeah, we would love to come back, and definitely would like to come back and headline at some point. You know,
Yeah, well, you could with this album. This album is all killer, no filler, man.
sweet.
So I can't see why you wouldn't be able to back this one all the way to the hilt, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah. We'll do our best.
yeah, that's the main thing. That's all you can do because you clearly have.
Yes.
This is a pinnacle of your work. I'm really,
No, thank you very
uh,
much.
yeah, genuinely, I was blown away by it. So,
Thank
and I love your stuff.
thank you.
Uh, thanks for coming on. Thanks for chatting.
Absolutely.
I hope the rest of your day goes well, and the album launch is massive, and you get great feedback because it's deserved.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. You've got a lot more of your day ahead of you than
That's
I do,
it.
so
Yeah, I do
yeah,
indeed.
best of luck.
That's right. More the
Yeah,
same. All right.
yeah, yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for coming on.
All right, sir. Thank you.